Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. We're going to talk about restaurant tech innovation and adoption, how that's been accelerated due to COVID-19. Levanon, he's the CEO of Dragontail Systems, joins me to discuss how consumer habits are evolving. It's great to have you with me. Thanks so much for joining me on Trade Talks.
Right. Thanks for having me, Jill. Good to be
All right,
here.
let's discuss the current state of the restaurant industry, particularly as it relates to contactless deliveries, pickups, and sanitation measures.
Yes, Jill. Look, we all know the world is changing in front of our eyes everywhere we look. I mean, we open the news and things are different than yesterday. And the restaurant industry is the one that was affected probably more than many other industries. And so you see now consumers start adapting to have the food delivered to them because there is no other way they can get their food. No more going and sit down in a restaurant, or even a pickup is almost unheard of during those last few months. So things are changing so much, Jill, that restaurants are trying to understand and digest what's going on. Is it for real? Is it going to stay like that? That the COVID-19 really changed the consumer behavior. And based on this recent survey, it looks like it seriously did.
Well, how have last mile solutions, how have they not specifically designed for the food service industry? It seems as if they're failing restaurants.
Absolutely, Jill. This is an excellent question. I'm glad you're asking it because, look, last mile is an unfair and misjustice or injustice to the restaurant industry. Because you see, restaurants don't deliver furnitures or documents, they deliver food. Food should be treated differently. It cannot be last mile, it has to be every mile. It has to be first mile, which starts in the kitchen, and all the way to the consumer. And what's happening, and that's a good point, the last mile solution, so you have those logistic companies, let's say Uber, for example, which is a great company, and you have somebody take somebody to the airport. That same driver now takes food or a pizza to a consumer. Those are two different things. And when there is no connection between what's happening in the kitchen until it arrives to the consumer, that's where the problem starts. So what you see, and we see it in the survey that was done, so consumers are complaining on wrong items, missing items. You forget the drinks or you deliver the wrong food. And now the driver, who is not even the restaurant driver, he or she are a third-party driver, they don't go back and deliver the right food. So you have that issue. Then you have late deliveries. And then the most important thing, the food is not arriving hot and fresh. There is no connection between when the food is prepared and when the driver picks it up. And that's where last mile solutions are failing the restaurant industry, and the one who suffer are the consumer, because the food that they get is not the same as if they went to pick it up or sat down in the restaurant. Not to mention they pay much more nowadays because there are so many people and organizations touching the plate, so to speak, and putting their hands on it and cutting their own coupon, and the customer ends up paying more.
Right. Well, the whole key to this with the restaurants is to be able to quickly scale while maintaining the brand loyalty and drive revenue in an effort to compete with those larger third-party delivery services, as you had mentioned. So when you think of artificial intelligence, when you think of machine learning, these kinds of technologies are trained to optimize virtually anything that they do. Is that possible from the moment an order is placed to the time it gets to a consumer? Can AI and machine learning be the answers?
Yes, and the answer, it's already in practice. And Dragontail was established about 7 years ago to bring AI and science into the restaurant industry. And to be honest with you, we are now 7 years in business. I haven't seen one technology company that actually went and put technology inside the restaurant. There is a lot of out-of-store solution, like the aggregators, third-party, online. I mean, you talk a lot about how online is changing and whatever, but what about the poor restaurants that need to handle deliveries and takeaway and hopefully soon again dining? They don't take advantage of all the greatest AI developments that have been taking place in other industries, high-tech industry, automotive, medical. The poor restaurants, they haven't received any of this help coming from the technology world. And so when you have AI technology in the restaurant, first of all, there is no more first in, first out. Every restaurant, Jill, that you go to, the way the order shows up in the kitchen is based on the way they received from the consumer. Makes no sense. Why would you prepare a pizza or a burger, have it packed and waiting for a driver for 10, 15 minutes, getting cold, if there is no driver to pick it up? Maybe you should take order number 1 and number 5, prepare them together and have one driver go to a suburb and deliver those 2 orders because they belong to 2, neighbors that live close to each other. There is so much that can be optimized and should be optimized, but yet everything is still done manually in the restaurant with a shift manager that is so busy and he or she are trying to figure out what to do, and it's all just one big mess. And then you have the aggregators that come and deliver one order at a time. There is no connection between when, let's say, a Grubhub or Deliveroo or Uber Eats driver, when they are available and when the food is prepared. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, I would agree with you there, Ido. Thank you so much for joining us on Trade Talks.
You're welcome. Thanks much.
All right, you got it. And thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.